This conference will now be recorded.
So welcome everybody, good morning. Thank you for joining us in this special session with the clusters of Moldova and the policymakers also. Today we are going to speak about sustainable bioeconomy models, and in doing that we come with the special moderation of Daniel Kosnita for the session and excellent speakers from that sector. So, very important for you to know, be aware please that we are recording this session, and the recording will be shared both in the European Cluster Alliance channels and those of the ECCP. So if you remain with us, you accept that. And I want to encourage you to contribute to the discussion. So after the introductory speeches, we will open the floor, and please be proactive, share your knowledge. This is a co-creation process, and we are here sharing intelligence. So thank you again, and without any further ado, Daniel, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Antonio. Welcome everybody to this special session on sustainable bioeconomy models, which is part of the International SME Conference, Clusters as Drivers of Resilient Digital and Green Economic Competitiveness, taking place online, unfortunately, in the Republic of Moldova in Chisinau. And starting with 10 o'clock Central European time, we invite you to join the main conference. The link to the conference is, I have just put it in the chat. We will discuss there about financing opportunities, bioeconomy, and best practice examples, especially from the Danube region, as this day of the conference is organized in the frame of the Danube Transnational program project Go Danubio. So we're talking about sustainable bioeconomy. We have, and it has been intensively discussed, and yeah, I think that even the concept needs further clarification. So all of us know somehow what this is, but I think that if we ask 10 people, I will get at least 8 answers. So this is why we have structured this session on the 3 levels. So we will hear first a perspective from a macro regional level, and it's my pleasure and honor to welcome Sergi Costa from Bioeconomy, which is an organization dealing with bioeconomy. So this is what they do, their bioeconomy. And he will clarify a little bit the concept and also how this is being approached at the macro regional level in the Danube region in the frame of the Danubio project. Then we will turn to a national perspective, and it's also my pleasure to have here Oksana Paladiciuc from the SME Development Agency of the Republic of Moldova, which to my opinion is one of the best SME development agencies in Europe, and that shows that innovation can take place also in remoter and less developed regions. And she will explain us how this bioeconomy is being approached in a country which has to find some niches in order to be competitive at international level. And last but not So last but not least, we will go then to a regional level. In a region in Romania, Covasna region, where the green energy cluster has been given for 10 years now, this bioeconomy development process at regional level with some remarkable results. So let's go first to the macro regional level, and I would like to invite Sergi to tell us about bioeconomy, how this is being seen from Baden-Württemberg, from BioPro, and how this is being approached in the Go Danubio project. So Sergi, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Daniel. Good morning, everyone. I hope that you can hear me well. I'm going to share very shortly my screen so we can be on track. Daniel, can you see the screen now, full modus?
Yes.
So perfect. Glad about this. Just 1 second, please. Okay. First of all, thank you to the European Cluster Alliance to invite me representing BioPro Baden-Württemberg and also the consortium of Go Danubio in this morning session. I'm going to give you in 10 minutes a short insight about a project that has been running since mid of last year. So we are now 1.5 year implementation for the progress of this project. It's called Go Danubio. And I haven't just entitled this presentation as paving the way for sustainable bioeconomy models in the Danube macro-region. As stressed by Daniel, I'm going to try to give the approach, this macro-regional approach. And just very shortly, BioPro is located in Baden-Württemberg in the south of Germany. We are working very closely with the region there related to the implementation of the bioeconomy strategy in that region, but also about awareness and communication and networking. So we act like a kind of pooling competences related with clusters also, but also other stakeholders. And BioPro is coordinating this project called Go Danubio. So let's gonna start. 1 second, please. Yes. First of all, a very short overview on the content of Go Danubio. Actually, Go Danubio, it's about capacity building and support to policy developments for deploying the circular bioeconomy in the Danube macro region, and also very important, make rural areas revitalize. We are talking about the Danube macro region. We are talking about mainly eastern part of this macro region. There are countries and regions with a lot of rural areas, and as mentioned also by Daniel, maybe some of them remote. So we're trying just to use circular bioeconomy as a bioeconomic model to try to revitalize part of these areas. I'm not going to talk now exactly what circular bioeconomy is. I guess that most of you know about this, but if not, I invite you to follow the keynote of Professor Kindafata at 10 o'clock after this meeting. So in a nutshell, Go Danubio strives to make circular bioeconomy really roll in the Danube regions. We will see why and how. Yes, this is a very short overview of the geographical coverage of the project. The project is funded through the Interreg Danube transnational program. Probably all of you are aware of this program, or most of you. So it's covering from Black Forest to Black Sea, and we have most of these Danube regions represented in the project. You will see that Ukraine and Moldova, we don't have partners in this project, unfortunately. But with events like this, today's events more focused on bioeconomy and co-organized also with Go Danubio project, we are trying to inform, to make aware about circular bioeconomy also in Moldova in this case, but also in Ukraine. I hope that we have also Ukrainian attendees during today's meeting. So what might be important for you as members of a cluster alliance is that we have 12 out of the 19 partners they come from cluster and business support organizations. So this is more or less 70% of the consortia. So you are, I would say, you are very well represented there. We have another kind of type of partners, as you can see, national ministries, local public authorities, and so on. You can see in this slide. Then a very short insight on the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, how a project like Go Danubio is contributing to these goals. I think that project at least addresses 10 of these 17 goals, but I would stress the importance on these 5 that are frameworked in green. The first one is related with more food security. The second about infrastructure and innovation. Of course, this is very related to the cluster role of clusters in the bioeconomization or in this transformation process. We want to try to reduce territorial imbalances. This is clear. In the Danube region, we have a strong also territorial imbalances if we go from Black Forest to the Black Sea. So we try just to make a contribution to this. Climate action is very clear. The asset, how circular bioeconomy should contribute to the climate mitigation and adaptation is very clear. And life on land is more related with what I mentioned, try to revitalize rural areas, try that our kids or our young couples, they decide to stay in the rural areas because they can make a living from there and they can raise their children if they have a family or they decide to have a family. So very shortly, because this is not, I would say this is Go Danubio is not an innovation project, it's more about policy support. But of course, if there is a policy support, if there are good structures related with clusters landscape in the Danube macroregion, we will get in some years' time what we are striving for. We will get for this transformation, we will get awareness, we will get more circular bioeconomy. For the reasons we analyzed at the beginning during the first half year, how what is the status in our regions in the Danube related with policy that is supporting this transformation. And for us, we check it about policy roadmaps, strategies, and we see that, as you see here, we check it by circular bioeconomy and by rural development, and also demographic change. But I'm going to focus all in circular bioeconomy and rural. Rural is clear. We have the rural development programs that they are compulsory in all EU member states. For member states that take part in the Danube macro region. But what it's most relevant to understand is this column here. If you check, we have 2 kind of colors, or 3 actually. One is very green, a specific strategy or policy in place. Then we have a light green, that means that they have a strategy or policy, but it's all in preparation. And then we have the yellow one, that it means that this bioeconomy policies somewhere hidden in an environmental strategy or in a smart specialization strategies and so far. So what it's important to see is that we have very few bioeconomy strategies in place. Actually, only Baden-Württemberg has one. It's a region. In Austria, there is a national one, but that also it's have effects in Upper Austria. This is represented as a region in our consortium, and then we see some signal of progress related to this specific in Bulgaria, Hungary, and Serbia. They are just preparing a circular economy. Circular economy per se is not circular bioeconomy, but we are confident that this, among this circular economy concept, of course, you can find also bioeconomic related models. So, and the rest of countries, I would say 50% of the countries, they don't have a specific policy related to bioeconomy or neither to circular economy. Then this second part of the presentation is more focused maybe to your interests as clusters managers or clusters related to stakeholders. This is a diagram taken from a recent article from 2 years ago, 2-3 years ago, called Bridging bridging the gaps for a circular bioeconomy. And I want to stress your attention to three of these diagrams. If you check these diagrams, these are relevant steps to try to deploy circular bioeconomy to make it roll in our regions. And from my personal opinion, the role of clusters can be very focused in these three diagrams that I marked here with a very green framework. One, it's multi-regional supply chain, how the clusters can support the implementation of bioeconomy models. Second is from where we take the feedstock, the biomass we need for this value chain or value networks. And third, how, which are the applications or the multi-applications of the bio-based solutions or products or service that we are supporting. So let's gonna have a close look to each of the three. One is multi-regional supply chain. This is, I saw now in the slide that was shown at the really beginning from Antonio Novo, like the kind of mask for this event. I saw that there was something about Cluster Alliance against COVID or something like this. So you know about this. We have been right now nearly 2 years with COVID ongoing. So we know how the value chains look like now in all Europe, but also particularly also in the Danube regions. So one of the conclusions of this article is that an approach like this, that means multi-regional supply chain, but in Europe, not just going in Asia or in other corners of the world, can facilitate EU member states that has a transition economy to establish bioeconomy models with the needed investment from national funding authorities. Okay, here I would just add up not only national funding authorities, there are a lot of other funds that we will see through this morning, also mainly in this slot called funding opportunities for cross-regional bio-based value chains. I mean, we have funds from Europe with these EU generation funds. We have from EAAC, investment banks, and so on. We will see more about this later on. Feedstock, it's clear what it's particularly needed now. It's a locally sourced feedstock. That means that we have this feedstock actually in most part of the Danube region. In the eastern part, there are countries like Hungary, Bulgaria, Romania, with also and Moldova in this case, a smaller country, but in any case also with a quite agriculture part. And we need to use this feedstocks for this circular bioeconomy deployment. Multi-sector application, it's also stressed as very relevant. Here the clusters can also play a role, because I remember yesterday the presentation, I think it was from Antonio Novo, talking about this kind of nodes that join clusters with other clusters. So we need also as mentioned also this morning, I think, this cross-sectoral approach. It's not only about bioeconomy clusters, it's also about automotive clusters, about chemical clusters, and so on. So value chains and bio-based products that have a potential to be applied in variety of sectors. So if we try to connect all these dots, then we will see that some RTD innovation on bio-based products and service are going to find different kind of markets, because we are trying to have a multi-sectorial application. And then my last part of presentation is but competitiveness, that it's a key aim of your work as clusters managers. It's according to Go Danube Bio, not only about clusters. We need more things, because we're talking about a new kind of economy. We are talking about a real transformation. So we need many people on board. And Professor Kindafata, that you might hear him later on, he will talk a lot about bioeconomization. This is a word that I think that he coined in order to understand this transformation. We are not talking only specific classes, as I mentioned. We're talking about many people. And you see these people here. You see here at the top, like a farmer with the tractor. You see here some people, also farmers, young farmers, here students from institute that they visit a field visit. You see here clusters managers, smiling or not, but just co-creating, just talking together. We see here also very relevant the policies. For the reason we have at least 2 ministries in our consortium. We have 3 local authorities, and we see here also the researchers. So this is all about bioeconomization. It's not only about clusters when we talk about this transformation. Another example is capacity building. Is, for instance, this row of events, 10 in total, that we are implementing from science autumn till beginning of next year. This is an example of one event we will do in Baden-Württemberg by the end of January. It's in German, but anyway, it's about inviting communities, municipalities, cluster business support organization, ministries, even NGOs to talk about approaches, participation approaches, so bioeconomy, to implement them at regional level. Later on, we will see a presentation that is related with regional level. So this kind of events are aimed to contribute to this approach. And my last slide is about, as I mentioned, not only about clusters. We need a systemic approach, and for the reason I'm trying to give this also macro-regional perspective. One is, it's also about act politically. I mean, we are very lucky. I mean, we have since 2 years onwards this European Green Deal, so we are in a really huge, good momentum to act really in our Danube region. We have this Danube regional strategy. You well know this. This is ongoing since now 10 years. So priority area 8 also can contribute very well to our aim, and also priority area 10. But we have to try to embed the mission of this strategy through the national mainstream programs. Then we have the funds I already mentioned. I will not give a detail on this. Yeah, there is only 3 here represented, but this will be a very focus of the first slide this later on. So I invite you to attend also. This is not about funding programs, because in this transformation, really we need to consider the funds that are still now rolling through, going to the member states and countries. So, and then finally, to my point, this is not specifically Go Danubio. This is another project, actually, with participation of 2 partners of Go Danubio. One is Clusteragentur Baden-Württemberg, you know them, and the other one is BioPro Baden-Württemberg. It's called Danube Allianz. It's funded by the regional ministry in Baden-Württemberg, but it has an approach to collaborate in the Danube region. And actually, what I mean here, it's not only about acting politic, about where we allocate our funds. It's about which projects you as clusters are supporting or are taking part. And Danube Alliance, for instance, it's passed very well with the content of these 2 days about resilience, digital and sustainable. And you will hear more about this project next year, at least the Go Danubio partners, and also through Germaya Zukoka for sure. And we are already thinking about value chains related with miscanthus and sorghum in places, for instance, like Bulgaria or Romania. I mean, just to deploy really pilot tests or pilot projects in this direction. So this is just an advance of what can happen through the second part of this project that will end by end of next year. So that, I think that was all by my side. Thank you for your attention, and I leave the floor now to Daniel again.
Thank you, Sergi, for the presentation. If there are direct questions, if not, we will talk a little bit at the end, a little bit about the presentation. And I would like now to pass to the national level, and to see how the development of SMEs and the support of the SMEs, which is being done by the Agency for the Development of SMEs in the Republic of Moldova, goes together with this with the bioeconomy subject. And I would like to invite Oksana Baladiciuk to share her thoughts with us. Oksana?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for inviting. Please tell me if you see my screen now.
Yes, but yes.
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 Okay. First of all, thank you very much for joining today's meeting, and thank you for inviting me to discuss and to represent the Republic of Moldova and specifically the Organization for SME Sector Development. I'm very honored to be here and to speak about bioeconomy, circular economy in the context of developing resilient green and digital cluster initiatives in Moldova. What I want to say is something commonly known. SMEs are considered to be the backbone of economic development. Hence, they are also one of the biggest pollutants in the environment across the Europe and internationally known. I'd like to say that Organization for SME Sector Development understood this since 2010 when firstly launched the CSR, the Corporate Social Responsibility Contest, which came before the bioeconomy, circular economy concept and greening of SMEs. At the same time, in 2018, because the greening, the circularity was clearly depicted as an important pillar to economic development. In 2018, it was included as a principle and in the SME development strategy of the Republic of Moldova. Since then, in 2019, we approved and we've been implementing the national program for greening SMEs and also introducing the SME greening principles in our program implemented by DEAM. But first, I'd like to say that, yes, of course, opening a business and developing a business is easier in the Republic of Moldova, and we have great improvements in this, and we periodically improve the procedures and improve the mechanism to support SMEs development, creation, growth, and internationalization. As I've mentioned previously, ODIM is implementing a number of programs. Why I'm showing them here? Because the greening principle, the innovation principles are as principles encouraged within other programs as well. Either we speak about the reinforcement of investment of remittances in economic development, either we speak about the business incubation and developing businesses in the country, or if we speak about businesses opened by youth, by women, or even when digitalizing, this is one of the main parts. When digitalizing the SMEs, we of course want to make the processes more clean and we want to make the processes easier for SMEs. As I've mentioned, the national program, which came as the first program to support greening in SMEs, and the most important part of the program was this information to the SMEs and to the potential consultants in greening. And we also looked for in training these regional consultants in greening to make them understand the principles and on their side to be able to consult SMEs in circular economy, bioeconomy. This is a long process and we are still in the process together with our partners, with EAAC, within the EU for Environment program, most of you already know, and within our development partners to develop this network and to support SMEs. So if we come back to the national program, then you see that along with the training we have inside, we have the financial support to SMEs in introducing eco-innovation in technological processes, in procuring equipment, machineries and installations to prevent pollution and to make water waste management better and to reduce and prevent any leaks. We also have the high value financing, which is up to 500,000 lei, which also comes to the implementation of international standards, certification relevant to greening, implementation of European environmental management and audit systems, and other initiatives, including eco-labeling, packaging, and so on. One important tool we've been developed and introduced to SMEs were the self-assessment tool. So independent SMEs can go through this self-assessment tool to better understand where they stand at different level and understand what else can they do to make their companies more circular, more environmental friendly. So the training sessions, so far we've already trained 384 SMEs in circular economy, eco-innovation and greening issues. We already financed 15 SMEs and 29 other SMEs are waiting for the final conclusion under the financing instrument within the greening tool. Moreover, because we are already knowledge to these principles, to the bioeconomy, to greening, and we understand also that connecting companies in supply chain and clustering, due to the project we're implementing together with the partners under the EU for Moldova Focal Region Program, which has been implemented by the United Nations Development Program and the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, with the financial support of European Union, of course. We are dealing with encouraging the creation of the 8 cluster in the focal regions, Cahulan and Gen. And from the very beginning, we introduced greening, and we foreseen these principles as a key principle in developing clustering initiatives. As I've mentioned yesterday, and we'll be mentioning in the nearest future, and continue with the support for these regions and specifically for these 8 initiatives. So I'd like just to mention then the tourism, wine, table grapes, shepherding, strawberries, carpet, furniture. So these are the cluster initiatives we're working in the framework of this project, but we are not limited to that, and we already have other initiatives which heard about this work and already contacted us to develop other cluster initiatives and to encourage the initiatives ODIM created in 2018, also with the support of the Cluster Association from Romania. Following the great exercise we're having now within the project, of course, we'll apply the principles, the mechanism within the national program to support cluster initiatives in Moldova. So at the first stage, we will be working, of course, with the stakeholders, understanding their state of being, understanding their implication and their willingness to cooperate in specific cluster. And then we will, of course, emphasize on sharing of knowledge, experiences, undertaking the good experiences and already the steps. We've heard yesterday within the International SME Conference, and we will be hearing today in the second day of the conference. Of course, the main aim of the program would be to support the cluster initiatives, the creation and development, growing and going international. So the main aim of the program will be to create these cluster initiatives, to empower the management entities and to make cluster understand that they have to have a common standard, they have to follow the principles and make them be more resilient towards what they're planning to do. We will continue to encourage the members of the clusters to use our project, other initiatives to finance their activities or to finance specific parts. But also this is a very important program to support the supply chain and to give the road and direction towards greening, towards digitalization and towards sustainable development. Also, a project initiative I would like to mention is of the project Centur, Circular Economy and Tourism, which is a project within COSME. And we are delighted to have this initiative as well, appearing that we are also the Enterprise Europe Network member. And all of us know the role of Enterprise Europe Network in promoting the bioeconomy principles across the world. So this program is specifically focused on the tourism, and it has the 7 European countries, 7 partners from Italy, Spain, Belgium, Northern Macedonia, Cyprus, and Greece, of course, Moldova. And we want to train and to help the tourism, the pension hotels to use the circularity in their processes, to understand how they can make the maximum use of the benefits economic, social, and environmental benefits of circular economy. This subject is so comprehensive and so interesting that we could talk about the national framework programs, about the interministerial group Moldova is having already for more than 4 years, and that joins together with national policy stakeholders and regional stakeholders to share the experiences, to make sure that the national policies envisage this important topic. I will stop here because we have time. We are limited in time. We have our speakers, but I will stay here for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Oksana, for this very synthetic but also very comprehensive presentation. We'll come back later with some questions. If there are direct questions now, please, to Oksana. So if not, let us go now to a region, to a regional level. In Romania, the county of Covasna in the central region, where the cluster story in Romania started about 10 years ago, and we would like to hear from Boglar Kavaida, the story of bioeconomy and how this is being implemented all through the clusters, in the region. Bogi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Daniel. I hope you can see my screen because I'm very new in GoToMeeting software.
Yes. You can, yes, we see it, but you can click on the presentation. That you have the full screen. Yes, there it is.
Okay. So good morning, everybody. Yeah, it's okay.
Just click. No, we see you. Yeah, again, click on this button to see the. Yeah, do only the slides. Not there. Okay, yeah. Now it's okay.
Okay. So thank you very much for the word, and thank you also for the possibility to speak in this morning session. It's a great honor to be here and to present some initiatives, I call them, of bioeconomization through 2 case studies. I selected 2 case studies. One is Green Energy Cluster and the other one is Agrofood Cluster. My name is Boglar Kavaida. I am project manager at Green Energy Cluster. A cluster which has been established 10 years ago. The main idea is biomass to energy, and to promote this concept across Romania, and not only. We also have been assisting and offering, sharing our knowledge and experience for the Moldovan partners as well. We helped to establish energy and biomass cluster in Moldova in 2017. And we cooperate with them. We have projects together. So it's a pleasure to work with Moldovan partners as well. So as Mr. Costa also mentioned, this policy context in the EU. So there is the EU Green Deal, the Circular Economy Action Plan, and the Bioeconomy Strategy. These are all set up by the Commission. So our role is how to make this transition, how to engage all the actors, all the stakeholders to smoothly transition, because there are many challenges, there are many expectations and many hurdles to establish bioeconomy especially in Central and Eastern Europe. But as well, there are many opportunities, and this is the main challenge, to see the opportunities in all this. I put this picture with the regions from the Central and Eastern Europe, but also we can speak about Eastern Partnership countries as well. They are even more in a situation that it's very, very hard and very challenging to adopt this bioeconomy in their region. I'm coming from Romania, from a small county called Covasna, which has a lot of potential in terms of agricultural biomass, forestry biomass, but also bio-waste. I mean biowaste, meaning biodegradable garden waste, park waste, food and kitchen waste, and all this, which are the main feedstock for the bioeconomy. So there is this potential, but the question is, can we take this momentum and be prepared and organize ourselves, organize stakeholders in order to launch bioeconomy businesses, bioeconomy, and lead the bioeconomization. And there are many challenges, as I said. There are many residues and waste streams that are underutilized, or if we take, for example, the biomass from agriculture, the biomass from the wood industry, that are not used, and often it is not recognized by many, by the communities, by the stakeholders, that it is a useful material that could replace the fossil fuels, for example. And sometimes they are, not sometimes, many times they are burned in the field, which causes air pollution also. So there is a lack of awareness of this potential to form value chains in the biomass. And it needs a lot of awareness raising and a lot of education, even from starting from kids, from schools, to understand what exactly bioeconomy means, because sometimes concepts are confusing. People understand sometimes organic farming or ecological agriculture, and bioeconomy is not about that. So there is a need for a policy coherence, a need for a good strategy and a good roadmap. Also, investments are needed in infrastructure and technology, and R&D as well. I inserted here the two logos of the projects, which are about developing the bioeconomy concept and helping to develop bioeconomic strategies in Central and Eastern Europe. One is called BRural, Bio-Based Strategies and Roadmaps for Enhanced Rural and Regional Development. Covasna County from Romania is one of the target regions. And there have been in place many awareness raising action, consultation processes with the stakeholders. So these projects are very, very important and very, very useful to spread the knowledge about bioeconomy and to clarify what does it mean, what potential does it mean, and to make the stakeholders understand and to try to open them towards these possibilities and to show them the opportunities. And here clusters have a significant role, an essential role in raising awareness and in in putting together all the actors from public institutions, public administration, businesses, civil society, and consumers, but also the research and innovation and university as well, and to share knowledge and to show best practices to make models available. I would like to mention a few projects of the Green Energy Cluster, and it's worth to mention that the formation of the cluster back 10 years ago, it was that stakeholders recognized the biomass potential, the regional biomass potential. So there were the farmers in the short rotation coppices, there were manufacturers in the biomass heating systems, and they have so the main elements of the value chain have been and also woodworking industries. So the main elements of the value chain, of the biomass value chain, have been in place. So the cluster could be formed, and in this respect, there are many applications in place. For instance, we developed this concept of 1 village, 1 megawatt, which is a biomass to energy project. We established already 180 such kind of small to medium scale systems in all Romania. So we cooperate a lot with the public authorities, with the communities, to make them understand that this biomass, these residues, agricultural, forestry residues, or even from cleaning of parks and gardens, could be a feedstock for the bioenergy. And also we have the AgroBioHeat project, which is promoting heating solutions based on agro-biomass residues. But also the research and education part is important. We cooperated with EU partners in the bioenergy training projects. It was a Horizon project, which developed master curricula for bioresource management, biorefinery engineering. But also it made possible exchanges of researchers through a Marie Curie research project. And also the SPIRE projects, which is urban innovation action. It's an experimental project in a polluted in an ex-mining settlement from Romania, Baia Mare, and we experiment how short rotation coppices like energy willow could extract the contaminated part from the land, from the soil, through this phytoremediation or bioremediation process, and also this biomass processed and cleaned, how to form and how to this bio-based biomass and bio-based product, how it could be made. But also we have had many research projects. I highlighted here Lixar Chem, which was about the extensive valorization of lignin and salicylic acid to bulk and fine chemicals. Members from the cluster, like research institutions and university, cooperated with industry partners. And the other one was by BioBuild, extracting from renewable biomass sources carboxylic acid building block chemicals. The next case is Agrofood Cluster, also a cluster that has been formed recognizing the biomass potential of agro-food industry in Covasna region. Recently, we developed the circularity matrix within the cluster, meaning that companies, for example, from the dairy industry, that are producing this byproduct, this raw material, the whey, how this bioresource can be valorized by other partners within the cluster, companies like agro-industry, from the agro-industry, from food industry or beverage production, in order to produce animal feed, fruit drinks, or other fruit products. There are some already in place or already in the market bio-based products developed by companies within the cluster. One is a gluten-free functional drink, and the other one is a high protein level drink from milk waste, from the whey, sorry. So in conclusion, as I mentioned, bioeconomy and especially circular bioeconomy is a challenge. It's even more challenging for the Central and Eastern European countries. But given the biomass potential, given the bioresources that we have in this area, it could be an opportunity. But it depends on us, it depends on the government, on the cluster, on all the stakeholders, how to valorize this potential, how to take this opportunity. And as I said, clusters have a pretty much important role in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bogi, for the presentation. Now it's time to discuss a little bit for the last 8 minutes that we have. I encourage you to share your thoughts or to put your questions. We have a question for Oksana directly in the chat. Yeah, it's about the green biomass energy and biomass cluster in the Republic of Moldova that is been founded years ago. How do you keep contact with them, and how you assess their evolution?
Yes, thank you very much for this question, Mrs. Alina. Indeed, ADIM was at the core of the creation of this biomass cluster. We also participated in the meetings. We are keeping in contact with Mr. Vasiliev, the manager of the association, which is managing this cluster. Although they have a number of issues still to be solved, they're quite active in performing and in developing their clusters, because the members of the cluster are spread on a large territory. Me personally, I believe that this cluster is a great initiative. By the way, it was also created with the support of UNDP, which is the main implementing of today SME conference, and with the project we're talking about today. And I think their experience should also be used when creating other clusters. And also we should be using the experiences shared yesterday and today by partners, by Boglarka, because we also met before within our online events, not physically yet. Thank you. I hope I managed to give an answer.
Thank you, Oksana. We have also another question from Matea, but maybe Matea, because I'm not sure I understand to who it is addressed, maybe you put it directly. It's a very interesting question, but are we referring to clusters in general, or what are we referring at?
Yeah, I will try. I am. So it's my question is actually very simple. It's how many clusters, those organizations that participate in these green initiatives approximately, and how many people are employed by these clusters? Just that I have to get the perspective on this. How big is actually these green clusters in green initiatives, whatever is it, tourism or energy?
cluster in Moldova or in Europe in general? Or is the
If
Danube
you
region?
can get the numbers, Moldova definitely would be nice to see, because I was quite impressed about this presentation. And if you have any information about the Europe, it will be also super good, you know, because I try to understand, but we cannot get any numbers. Daniel, very welcome if you have any ideas on this. Thank you.
I
Maybe
don't have,
Antonio, yeah.
Daniel, yes. I don't have here the slide, but I know for sure that past year there were something like 285, if I am remembering well, European clusters working on green. That is the number, more or less. I don't know the concrete number of companies. Globally, the global number of employees by clusters at the European level is 63 million employees. I don't know if for something like 1,000 clusters. I don't know if we can make a proportional part or not, but yeah, for sure. 285 was the number past year of cluster classified as working on green at European level on the ECCP.
Yeah, what I heard yesterday on the presentation of from the European Commission, they mentioned about 255 focusing on green and 387 focusing on digitalization.
Yeah, that could be the update. Yeah, that is a good number. I will say that there are many clusters working on green, and we are also increasing the ways to engage clusters on green activities. You know that the ECCP launched it during I don't know something like April this year, the Towards Green Transition Facility, and it was a program where 25 clusters across Europe, not yet on that field, not working on green, were supported in defining services for their members on green transition. So it's something that is clearly in our mind to support, to build capacity for clusters on creating circular economy circuits and to engage their members on the green activities. So the numbers should grow quickly. Thank you.
Yes, Daniel.
Yeah.
Can I make a question to Sergi Costa? A very short question. Sergi, one of the most important aspects for the bioeconomy in general is the open innovation between universities and centers of competence and companies. How is your experience concerning open innovation in your area?
You can hear me. You mentioned in your area, you mean in Baden-Württemberg or in general in our project?
From your experience.
I cannot hear you well. Can you repeat, please?
From your experience, how do you see open innovation in bioeconomy?
I cannot give you a very focused answer on this. Actually, we in our project, of course, we have also target group. It's related also with RTD and universities, but and through this, we are not addressing specifically open innovation schemes through our outreach activities through the project. So I cannot answer very specifically on this, but I think that I can give you maybe a more wide answer. What we observe is that in some part of these Danube regions, there is like a gap between what researchers do and the interests of companies, or the interest that is represented by clusters. So we, in that sense, for these regions, this open innovation approach might be, from my side point of view, maybe too ambitious, because before this, it needs these two levels, or these two walls needs to get closer. And then once this get closer through policies or support of infrastructure or whatever, then I think they will be in a stage they can think a step forward to streams like open innovation. I hope I was enough clear about your question, but yeah.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. To wrap up the discussion that we had, I think it was very interesting, and I think we had the macro regional level, the national level, and the regional level. And what we have seen also in the presentations is that financing. I mean, everybody has mentioned some programs, or financing is the issue, and I think that this has to be discussed further. How should bioeconomy be financed? Because just going to the different programs at the EU level, okay, but maybe we need some more structured discussion on the financing of the bioeconomy models. This we will have also in our conference. I give you again the link to the conference. Please join us at 10 o'clock Central European Time. Just click there and register, and you will be have access in the conference. Also, I think that also the presentations showed the importance of examples. All three speakers have given examples, of projects, of initiatives in the regional, national level, and I think also this should be also further discussed, because learning from best practice, I think it's the most effective way to go forward. So I thank you very much to the speakers, and also to the audience, and again inviting you to join us at 10 Central European Time in the link that I have given you in the chat. I would like to pass now back to Antonio for the final words.
Thank you, Daniel, and thank you to all of you, all the speakers, Sergi, Oksana, Progarka, and also those attending. I am really glad to have been able to welcome you to this session here, and I'm looking forward for next steps, next activities where we can link with you, okay, and co-create new opportunities, new realities that are so important for our European countries. So thank you, and yes, I will try to join you as soon as possible in the conference starting at 10. Anyway, have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the occasion to speak about Moldova and about our initiatives, and meeting you all. See you. Bye.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. Bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
See you later.
See you. See you. Yes.